Okay, continuing. Yesterday we were learning the dinim, or the customs, that the father of the baby on the day of a bris doesn't say tachnun. Ideally, they shouldn't eat anything until the mitzvah. He doesn't say tachnun no matter where he is. If the shul has a bris in it, even though there's nobody from the family or the sandik or the moil, they still don't say tachnun. Okay, now, there's two opinions. Where is the proper place to make a bris milah? Is it better to have it in the shul, or is it better to have it at home? There's two opinions in halacha. So some people say you should do it, there's more people in the shul, it's more roomy or whatever. Some people say, dafka, you do it in the house. Why? Because Eliyahu Navi comes to a bris. So if Eliyahu Navi comes to a bris, don't you want Eliyahu Navi in your house? So it depends. So we discussed there's a difference, for instance, on Shabbos. Let's say in a place where there's no Eruv. Now technically there are opinions that hold, because it's a mitzvah, you're allowed to carry the kid to shul for the bris with a goy. Some people say you shouldn't do it. Why? Make the bris at home. Who tells you have to make the bris in the shul, then you have to carry the baby with a goy to shul? Just make the bris in the house. There's different opinions even about that. So again, some people say house is appropriate, some people say it's not appropriate to make a bris. The bottom line is it's good to make a bris wherever. So now there's an interesting question, which Chassidus really asks the question. There's a story in the Zohar that there was a great rabbi in the Zohar called Rav Hamnuna Sava, the old Rav Hamnuna. He's a very, very lofty neshama. And he used to come every day to the Idra. The Idra was, Rashbi had a yeshiva in the caves of Tzfas. There was Idra Rabbah, which means the big yeshiva, and there was Idra Zuta, the small yeshiva. You have many times in the Zohar, it says Idra Rabbah, Idra Zuta, whatever. So what happened was, one day, so every day, Rav Hamnuna Savi used to come to the yeshiva, the Kabul Mukubal. One day he didn't show up. So the next day when he came back, they asked him, Eliyahu Navi, I made a mistake. Eliyahu Navi used to come every day to the Idra. Eliyahu Navi used to come. One day Eliyahu Navi didn't come to the yeshiva. So the next day when Eliyahu Navi came back, they asked him, the guys in the yeshiva said, where were you yesterday? So he said, I had to save Rav Hamnuna Sava. I had to save Rav Hamnuna Sava, the old Rav Hamnuna, this holy guy was in danger, and I had to go save him, and I can't be in two places at the same time. So I couldn't come to the yeshiva because I had to help him. So Chassidus asked the question, 1 minute. There's 100 brisin or more going around the world, or thousands of brisin at the same moment. And Eliyahu Navi comes to every bris. There are opinions that hold Eliyahu Navi comes to every seder. Right? Whether you open the door for Eliyahu Navi, whatever, that's different opinions. But there are opinions that hold Eliyahu Navi comes to every seder. So you can have millions of Jewish daughters more or less at the same time. So how do you have Eliyahu Navi coming to every seder, every bris, if the Eliyahu Navi over there couldn't be in two places at the same time? So Chassidus explains, very simple. When Eliyahu Navi cannot be in two places at the same time is when Eliyahu Navi has to come into a body to do the mission he has to do. If Eliyahu is Malach Habris, Eliyahu Navi as a Malach, as an angel, he's not limited in time and space. So Eliyahu Navi could be in a million places. It says to save it of Hamnuna Sov at that particular time, Eliyahu Navi had to come dressed into a body. And because he came dressed into a body, he couldn't be, the body limited him to be, so therefore he couldn't go to the Idra because he was stuck in the place saving Rav Hamnuna Sava, so he couldn't be in two places at the same time. It's similar what Alter Rebbe explains in Igeres HaKodesh, in Siman Zach, the famous that a tzaddik, he quotes in the Zohar, that a tzaddik, after he passes away, ishtakach b'kol almin, is found more in the world, more than he was alive. Why? Because when a tzaddik is alive, he's limited by a body. He can be, he is where he is. But after he passes away, it's only in the neshama. He could be all over the world. So Eliyahu Navi does come to every bris. The question is, do we want him in shul, do we want him in the house? So some poskim write, depends what type of house you have. If you have a house which is conducive for Eliyahu Navi to come, peaceful, proper, respectable house, then sometimes it's better. Otherwise, you do it in the shul. Okay, that's Tachnun. You don't say Vodachum. But again, it says in halacha, only the shul where the bris is being done, there is no Tachnun. But all the other shuls, you say Tachnun. Okay, if there's a shul where there's many different minyanim going on at the same time, as long as the bris is there, or the father of the baby, or the sandik is there, even if it's not davening with that minyan. I'll give you an example. You can have like in 770, there's 20 minyanim going on at the same time. Yeah, and the father of a baby or the sandik or the moil come to 770 to daven. But he's davening with one particular minyan, not with 20. But as long as he is there in the room, nobody says Tachnun. Him, the moil, the sandik, nobody says, even if the bris is in a different place.
In the building, like let's say it's on the second floor.
So then there's a question in halacha if you say Tachnun if you're on the second floor. They say that Rabbi Shimon Devork and the Rabbonim Lubavitch said that you don't say Tachnun, even upstairs, like in 70 versus the downstairs. Okay, but that's only Shachris Mincha. We said you do Tachnun unless if you're mamish davening by the bris. Okay, there's a lot of different customs. For instance, some people have a minhag, the moil should be the chazan, but he doesn't push away other avelim. Some people say he does, but they're right today. The moilim don't go daven to be the chazan. They don't daven for the yomid. Certain places the male will say v'chodesimei abris out loud, whatever the various different things. Okay, now it's preferred to have a minyan for a bris milah. Why? To testify, so to speak, a minyan testifying that the bris was done. But halachically, you don't need a minyan. What happens if you're in a situation, a kid has to have a bris in a hospital? Many times kids are in a hospital, you could do a bris, but you can't have a minyan coming into the NICU or whatever. So then you don't have to have a minyan for a bris. A chuppah, we learned, to perform a wedding, then you must have a minyan. But to do a bris, it's preferred to have a minyan. If not a minyan, the most, as many people as possible. But you don't actually need a minyan. Okay, you make it less. It says even if you, not for the minyan, but you can combine, also include women and kids for that minyan, so to speak. It's not a halachic minyan. It's a mitzvah to go to a place where there's a bris, and it says if you go there, you get your averos forgiven. It's like you receive the shechina, and you get it's like the additional neshama that a Jew has in Shabbos and Yom Tov, and you stop even learning to go to a bris milah. That's how important doing a bris is. Okay, now there's something called kvater. Kvater is the person that, what's the source of it? They say it's kvater, getzaig, whatever. There's a connection to the word kvater. Kvater, practically speaking, is the man and woman that bring the baby into the bris. They're the first introduction to the bris. Usually it's a couple, husband and wife. It says you shouldn't, besides husband and wife, or mother and son, or a son and a mother and a son, or relatives like that, you shouldn't have one man and one woman from a different family handing the baby over to each other. Many people do it, but it says in halacha it's better not to do it. So what happens like this: the woman kvater brings the baby in. She passes it on the tray. She passes it to her husband. The husband brings the baby into the bris. You see, Baruch haba, the baby is now going into the bris. Now, normally what it is, the kvater brings the baby all the way into the bris, and then you have somebody, it's called kiseh shel Eliyahu, puts the baby on it's another honor. He put the baby on the chair of Eliyahu Navi. There's a kiseh shel Eliyahu. Now, it's interesting customs. In many places, they have two chairs. One for Kisa Shel Eliyahu, Eliyahu Navi's chair where you put the baby on, and then another chair for Sandik. So you have two chairs. One chair is Kisa Shel Eliyahu, and one chair is the chair the Sandik who holds the baby during the bris sits on that chair. In Chabad, unofficially, officially, whatever, and we don't have two chairs, we have one chair. Kisa Shel Eliyahu is the chair that the Sandik sits on during the bris milah. Now, technically, in a lot of places they do this. What happens if you need a lot of people to give honors to? You know, if everybody, you don't want to insult anybody of the 13 cousins, 14 times removed, well, you all get insulted. All of a sudden, they're close relatives. When it comes to get honors, or for a will, the most distant relatives are all of a sudden you don't know them, you never saw them in your life, but when it comes for honors or wills, they're all there. And all of a sudden they become close relatives. What?
The will is a relative.
Yeah, there's a will, there's a relative. Right. So sometimes they have what's called chayke. It's called chayke. I don't know why it's called chayke, but it's called chayke. Chayke is the guy that kvated hands it to a guy, who hands it to a guy, who hands it to a guy, who hands it to a guy, and a guy, So, like everybody knows, in the politics of honors, that what the most important thing is that you say their name. This guy's honored with this guy. Doesn't matter what he does. As long as you call his name, this guy's honored with Chaike, this guy's honored with Chaike. It's just form of giving more honors. Until the last guy, that's an honor, putting the baby on the Kisa Shaliyo. Some people, the wife does it, but the minhag in the world is the woman that gave birth doesn't do it. Now, there's also an interesting custom, and the Rebbe spoke about it, and the Rebbe said he is not making what an official Chabad custom is. The Rebbe explained, that I'm going to explain a reason why people don't use pregnant women to be a kvater. The same thing when you have unterfire to a wedding, the people that walk you down. So in many Yiddish circles, there's a minhag that a pregnant woman will not be one of the people walking down, which poses an issue. What happened? I won't say it, but in many Orthodox frum circles, the mother of the kala or the mother of the chassan is pregnant. They have a lot of kids, right? So she can be having a new baby when, in the frum circle, there's a lot of nephews and nieces that are older than the uncles and aunts. You have that in a lot of families. So then, there's a whole question, can the mother of the kala or the chassan, who's pregnant means after 3 months, can she be kvater? So the Rebbe said, I'm not saying what the minhag is, even though by weddings the Rebbe writes a minhag is not to. But by bris milah, the Rebbe said he's not. But they bring down the Aruch HaShulchan, and other people say that you don't use pregnant women for a kvater. And there's a lot of reasons here. He says one reason is it's a danger, or, one second, what does he say here? It's a sakana for the baby, he doesn't know what the source of that is, and there's another thing. But the Rebbe explains another reason. And the Rebbe explains the same reason applies to weddings and to bris milah. You're supposed to have one kvater and one accompaniment, right? One person. A woman who's pregnant is really two people. But you find by kaparas, a woman who's pregnant, over there it's after 40 days, she has a special, if she uses chicken, she uses a second chicken or a third chicken. So you see that there's a second person in her. So the Rebbe says, by accompaniment to a wedding or by kvater for a bris, you want one person, not two. So therefore there's a custom that, so what they usually do, a mother wants to walk her kid down. So they'll walk next to them. Not somebody else, and then they'll walk. It's also, there's a Yiddish custom, which has a strong basis and brought down in halacha, and that is that kvater is a schooler for somebody to have children. So let's say you have a couple that until now doesn't have any children, they'll honor them a lot of times to be kvater, because kvater is a schooler to be able to have children. So they'll give it to a couple that doesn't have any children yet. Okay, that's that. The kvater puts on a talis, the man kvater puts on a talis. A mourner could also do it during shloshim, whatever. They could also be a kvater even though they're in the middle of mourning. Okay.